Victor Wembanyama is the most hyped prospect in a generation. A 7'4" unicorn who blocks everything and shoots threes. The hype is sky high, so surely he must be overrated, right? Or is it possible that even with all the noise, we're still somehow underselling him? So is Wembenyama overrated, underrated, or properly rated? Let the numbers settle it. Here's how this works. Every episode the same way. The perception, then the case he's underrated, then the case he's overrated, all from the data. We factor in the contract because value matters. Then the verdict on our OU meter, and we always close on the positive because the model can't measure everything. The facts are verified, the ruling is mine. Let's start with the perception. This is Game is Culture. Quick thing before the verdict. If you like player breakdowns that use real data instead of takes, subscribe. It's free and it helps a ton. Now, the perception. The perception is enormous. The future face of the league, a future MVP and defensive player of the year, a player who breaks the sport's physics. The expectations are about as high as they've ever been for a young big. When the hype is this loud, the natural instinct is to assume it must be inflated. So let's test whether reality can possibly keep up with a billing that massive. Start with the line, and it's already special. Wembenyama posts around 24 points and 11 rebounds a night, with elite, league-leading shot blocking, swatting multiple shots every single game. He's a primary scorer, a dominant rebounder, and a defensive eraser all in one body. Most players take years to do one of those things. He's doing all three at once, already. The case that he's underrated. Here's the case 4, and it's overwhelming. Wembenyama anchored a defense that ranked 3rd in the entire league and dragged San Antonio all the way to the finals. He led the entire playoffs in blocks, and by the advanced fantasy and impact numbers, he was the single most valuable performer of the postseason. A young big who is the best defender alive and a #1 option is almost unheard of. Map the profile and there are almost no holes. Elite rim protection, elite rebounding, real scoring, surprising mobility and handle for his size, genuine passing feel, and a developing outside shot. The shape isn't a normal center. It's a perimeter skill set stapled onto a 7'4" frame. The only spoke still filling in is outside shooting consistency, and even that already flashes. This is a complete two-way superstar template. And the impact goes beyond the box score. San Antonio's net rating was the 2nd best in the league, a true contender, and the defense transformed entirely around his presence at the rim. Opponents simply stop attacking the paint when he's back there. That gravity, the shots that never get taken because of him, doesn't show up in a stat line, but it's the kind of thing that decides playoff series. The case that he's overrated. Now the honest case against, because it exists. His scoring volume in the mid-20s is excellent, but not yet superstar high, and his three-point shooting is still streaky, hot one night, cold the next. He can be turnover prone, and for all the finals magic, San Antonio still lost the series in 5. He hasn't yet been the unstoppable offensive hub the very top tier becomes. But here's the thing the case against misses. Plot counting stats against true impact. And Wembenyama is the rare player whose value lives far above his box score. His scoring looks merely very good, yet his winning impact, the defense, the gravity, the finals run, sits in the elite corner. When a player's impact dwarfs his stat line like this, the people reading only the stat line are underrating him. And now the factor that settles it, the contract. Wembenyama is still on his rookie scale deal, making a fraction of what a max star earns. So you're getting the best young two-way player in basketball, a finals anchor, for one of the cheapest salaries a star has ever carried. That isn't just good value, it's the single biggest bargain in the entire sport, and value is part of the verdict. Quick halftime note. If you want the verdict on more players like this, stick around and subscribe while you're here. It's free. Now, perception versus reality. So stack the perception against the reality. They say future MVP, and the impact data says the future is closer than you think. They say best defender alive. The numbers fully agree. They say he must be overhyped, but the finals run and the league-leading impact say the hype is, if anything, a step behind. On nearly every measure, reality is racing to catch the hype, and gaining. And the swing factor is terrifying for the rest of the league. His age and his shooting arrow. He's already this dominant and still one of the youngest stars in the sport, with an outside shot that is improving, not fixed. As that jumper stabilizes, his modest scoring volume, the one knock, climbs into the elite tier 2. The flaws aren't ceilings, they're a to-do list he's already checking off. The verdict. So here it is, the OU meter, and this one is rare. Even with all the hype, Wembenyama lands firmly on the underrated side. Why? Because his impact dwarfs his counting stats. He anchored a finals team as the best defender alive, and he's doing it on the cheapest star contract in basketball. When a player this good is this great a value, the hype still hasn't caught the truth. Underrated. And to be precise about that, calling the most hyped player alive underrated sounds absurd until you separate impact from box score. The casual fan sees a mid-20s scorer and thinks the hype is ahead of the numbers. The advanced numbers, the defense, the gravity, the playoff value, the salary say the opposite. He's even better than the loud version of the story, which is a remarkable thing to say. And here's the principle that holds every episode, even when the model's verdict is harsh. The data can't measure everything. The competitive drive, the work ethic, the leap a young star is about to take. Here it only reinforces the case, because the unmeasurable stuff, his ceiling, his shot development, his will, all points up. For Wembenyama, both the numbers and the intangibles agree. The best is still ahead. Where could I be wrong? If you only value present scoring volume, you could argue he's merely properly rated until the offense fully arrives, and that's fair. And another big man injury would change any projection for a player with his frame. But weighing impact, value, and trajectory together, the verdict is clear. The hype is real, and somehow still not quite enough to capture what he already is, and what he's clearly about to become. So that's the verdict. Victor Wembanyama is underrated, even as the most hyped player in basketball, because his impact and his value outrun even the hype. Do you agree, or has the hype finally gone too far? Tell me where you'd set the meter below. And next episode, we put another star on the OU meter. And we are so close to 1,000 subs, so subscribe to stay up to date.